Hey, spooky friends. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. We're your horror besties, here to dissect our favorite and not so favorite horror movies. I'm Emma, and joining me as always is my little doll, Allie.
I'm Allie, and I'm your friend till the end.
Oh, fuck no.
Just kidding, I'm not that nice.
You're my friend till the end, though.
That is true.
Right?
I'm your friend till the absolute end.
Ooh, oh my gosh. What is that exactly?
I don't know, you tell me. What have you tell me a lot of things. What have you been up to?
Well, okay. I've been watching a ton of movies, which I feel like has been my update a lot recently. Just saw The Mummy, Hokum. We saw Faces of Death. Really liked that one.
Oh, I have a lot of follow-up questions.
TBH.
With Barbie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, really good. And also, too, you guys got to see the 45th anniversary screening of The Evil Dead, which was really cool because, as you guys know, we recently did that as an episode on the podcast like 2 episodes ago. And to see it in theaters, it was so fun. And then laughing with other people at the same parts and just seeing that we all were kind of having a similar experience was just, might I say, magical?
Oh, I am so jealous.
But what have you been up to?
Not watching as many horror films as you. Bad. Tisk tisk.
Tisk
Shame
tisk.
on me. But once this comes out, it will, my birthday's just about to happen. So that's
Happy early birthday.
Yes, almost our birthday. Thank you. And we will have just celebrated halfway to Halloween. You guys, once this is coming out, we are already past the halfway mark to Halloween.
Wait, what is it called? Walpurgis knock.
I can't pronounce it, but yeah, April 30th is something like you just said.
Yeah, basically in old, I think Eastern European culture, witches would celebrate the halfway to Halloween point. And we will have had a magical dinner together celebrating, and I cannot wait to do that with you.
Yeah, so lots of exciting things coming up, including my birthday. And you guys, all I want for my birthday is a fucking Good Guys doll. Today we are talking about the movie Child's Play. A classic. A classic that I don't think I had ever seen before doing this for the podcast. However, it was triggering some kind of synapses in my brain somewhere deep down in there. So maybe I had, because it was triggering memories of annoying shit that Chucky would say. But had you ever seen this movie, or what was your experience going into this?
Growing up, I definitely had seen this once or twice, but I saw it very young and then never saw it again until just now. I have not seen it in a very, very, very long time. And so much so that I kind of forgot it was called Child's Play and not just called Chucky.
You know what I was noting when I was watching this? I wonder if the marketing team or the franchise team or whoever the creators of this project, I wonder if they intended or knew that it would develop into basically being known as Chucky, the Chucky franchise. And it's funny that we all are the Chucky movies.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And to your point, I wonder if you have been having some weird flashbacks of it, because we live in such a time now where we see snippets of films so much on the internet that you could almost trick your brain into thinking that you've seen it, even if you haven't.
Literally, absolutely. Also, one of my parallel dimensions probably also has seen it.
Yeah.
And I'm just mixing brain waves with them.
Well, and speaking of first impressions of this film too, again, I haven't seen it in a very, very long time, but I know when I was a kid, I was terrified because I was a big doll person.
Oh,
and
yes.
Even now, I'm so impressed seeing Child's Play and how Chucky moves around and how his mouth moves, and doing all of that in the late 80s is so fucking cool.
So this also made me think about, okay, is this the origin of dolls in horror movies? And while it might be one of the first horror movies about dolls, dolls obviously have a further back origin story. It comes up in this movie, even voodoo dolls have been used in history, and all effigies, and a lot of dolls have to do with mourning. So it already has an inherent death associated with it.
And a spooky factor.
And obviously because they fucking look like humans too. Yeah. It's fucking scary. But then getting into the movie aspect, this movie and Poltergeist specifically, it's kind of the same time frame. They remind me of each other, but introducing dolls as scary shit. And now, obviously, we have the Annabelles of the world, which we already covered. You and the producer already covered in an earlier podcast. But now we see dolls and toys so much in horror films. But now we get to cover this movie that kind of ideated the whole thing.
I feel bad for the redheads out there because I just feel like a lot of these dolls have red hair.
You're so right. Think about Raggedy Ann. Why do dolls have red hair?
Raggedy Ann, aka the real Annabelle, and I'm pretty sure the clown in Poltergeist has it. Someone fact check me on that. Also,
Well, clowns just have red hair too.
true. And the doll Annabelle, she has like strawberry brown hair. There's a reddish tinge.
I think red hair is beautiful, so.
I think so too.
Good for Chucky. He doesn't have to spend $400 on dyeing his hair like everybody else does.
There you go.
And that's on that. But if you're like us and have to spend $400 on dyeing your hair, just kidding. But if you haven't seen Child's Play and you don't want it to be spoiled for you, go watch it, come back to us. But if you don't give a fuck, then come on this toy unboxing journey with us.
This film follows a dying serial killer who transfers his consciousness into a popular kids doll using voodoo. And we also get to meet a struggling single mother who gifts her 6-year-old son the much sought after doll for his birthday. And the doll slowly begins to show its true colors.
So for both of us not having had seen this until, a couple days ago in our adult lives, this movie's pretty fucking dark. The nature of it is super dark. I know it's not a children's movie, but it has childlike features to it. And I'm like, damn.
There are also parts in this, and I'll get into it later, where poor little Andy, the little boy in this film, he just goes through it, and truly it makes me so sad.
I have a note in here that says child acting equals child abuse, ?
Like he's going through too many emotions. This is bad.
But also great actor.
So good. So good. Something interesting about this film, too, is that while writing his original script, the creator, Don Mancini, was inspired by consumerism of the 1980s and the effect of marketing on children. So, for example, like the Cabbage Patch dolls were out and there were riots that were happening about that. And based on his experience with his father, who was an advertising executive, this sort of like really just prompted a ideation in his brain.
This was such a real craze. Perhaps what this movie was sparking was memories of a toy craze, not the fucking movie itself. We would get these catalogs, you and I, and we would circle everything we want, right? It was such a consumer-driven time. And this is just putting it into a horror movie. I remember the Cabbage Patch Kids. I remember the Furbies, fucking Teddy Ruxpin. This was a real thing.
It bleeds in even to today, right? Because there's also the popularity factor. Like if you have something and all your classmates have something and all your friends, it just makes you kind of want it even that much more. And even though I don't know a ton about toys nowadays, I mean, even look at like Megan coming out recently.
Dude, it'd be the new iPhone now.
Yeah, it's like we could go on a whole other tangent on that, I feel like. But another little fun fact I have here too is that before production, studios were really tough to please for this film, and they bounced around the writing duties from Mancini to John Lafia, and then finally allowing director Tom Holland, not that one, to alter the script to his vision. And after Child Play's success, Don Mancini was trusted with the sole writing credit for the remainder of the franchise's sequels. So that was at least cool.
So apparently when Child's Play was released in November of 1988, it actually opened at number 1 its opening weekend, which is great for a horror film. And it went on to gross over $44 million, which was great because they spent $9 million on it.
And that film franchise is still making money to this day.
There's still Devon Sawa, hello? They have Devon Sawa.
They have Devon
Sawa. What else do you
Sawa.
need?
It was also like received really positively by critics, and more notably, it won over critics that notoriously disliked slashers, which we can get into in a little bit, but I think that there's a lot of debate on whether this is like a supernatural horror or a slasher horror.
Even you and I were like, what bucket are we putting this in?
Yeah. Yeah, we were going through like planning our next few films and going into summer, and we like to have a little bit of everything so that we're not like repeating storylines. And we were like, where does this one really like fit in? Because it does kind of ride the line.
You can't put Chucky in a corner.
You cannot put him in a corner, but you can put him in a box.
And you can rate his movies on IMDb.
Yeah. And speaking of that, 6.7 out of 10.
Not bad.
Pretty high. Yeah. I kind of agree.
And Rotten Tomatoes agrees with you, and IMDb. The tomato meter says 64% and popcorn meter is 66. Letterboxd is 3.3. So across the board, we're pretty on par with each other. And again, it's so confusing to me in a funny way that neither of us have a specific tie to this movie. Seeing how popular it was, that's mind-blowing to me.
It's crazy because the impact was also just so strong. Because again, not even with just critics, but it also gained this like cult following that we still see to this day.
But maybe it just didn't hit us.
Yeah. And I mean, the success of Child's Play also spawned this media franchise that includes a series of 6 sequels, a television series, an unfortunate reboot, LOL. But it also like, it has so much background information on it. Like the producer and I, we were doing a little bit of research on some of like the fun facts and production and whatnot. There is so much out there. And then on top of that, the creator of the Chucky doll design, Tony Gardner, his daughter also did a really cool documentary called Living with Chucky. Her name's Kira Gardner, and we've met her before. She's really awesome. And she basically grew up alongside Chucky, and she's talking about different experiences of people that were also like involved in that process and just like recounting like all of their experiences that they've had with Chucky and with all of the surrounding franchise and everything that's come from it. And it's all just like so interesting.
Well, imagine growing up and your life is surrounded with this doll Chucky. That's her experience.
Exactly. It's so interesting. There's so much out there that you can consume outside of just anything within the franchise.
You know, for someone who loves a deep dive, I took this super surface level, so I'll have to get into that.
So speaking of diving in, Allie, do you want to play?
Hell yeah, because we're friends till the end. Cheers.
Cheers. This film opens with a police chase. Essentially, the police are chasing this serial killer, Charles Lee Ray. And he's also like AKA called the Lakeshore Strangler. And he is played by Brad Dourif. And they're chasing him through these like dark Chicago streets.
They just jump right into this police chase. And this guy doesn't look like a serial killer. He just looks like a guy who just lost his job and has $30 in his pocket, and he has 2 children who he doesn't speak to.
But he also may have some like gadgets inside of his trench coat that he's selling on the street. You know what I mean?
Sure. This is what this man looks like.
Yeah.
He does not look like a serial killer on the run. Also, Charles Lee Ray, the creators of this franchise, came up with this name for 3 killers, that being Charles Manson, Lee Harvey Oswald, and James Earl Ray. Also, if you're going to get technical with me, yes, Charles Manson did not do the actual killing, but that's how they came up with Charles Lee Ray as the Chucky character.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so they combined those 3 names.
That is a fun fact if I've ever heard one.
Love that.
I got another one for you. Brad Dourif, the actor who plays Charles Lee Ray in this film, he actually went on to voice Chucky in all of its sequels, which fuck yeah.
This voice, let me tell you how annoying. Good for him, though. He's getting all of the bags because of this voice.
As he should. And I absolutely love when a film sticks to one piece of kind of like tradition throughout all of its different variations.
It's brand recognition, too. You know, it's part of the brand. Apparently, Brad's Chucky voice that is so annoying to me is just his Jack Nicholson impression. So
even better.
This tracks.
I love it. I love it. We then meet Detective Mike Norris, who is played by Chris Sarandon, who, you guys, is Jack Skellington. He's also in Fright Night and Princess Bride, your information.
Jack Skellington? Mm-hmm. What a voice.
I know. You're
melty, dewy, dewdrop voice. Hot. So, also, he's not related to Susan Sarandon, just in case you were wondering, like me.
I actually was wondering that.
He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he pursues Charles Lee Ray into a toy store in this, like, Chicago street chase.
The whole silliness and how this is shot is just so Home Alone 2, Lost in New York City. It's like snowing out. They're in a fucking toy store. What is happening? And fucking Charles is erratic. He's running around the store. He's shouting so much. He just looks like he's strung out and he just needs his cocaine fix.
By the way, this store is not open. He has like broken in by shooting the lock. And he's not really trying to hide. He's kind of just like causing a big ruckus.
It truly is if the wet bandits or the sticky bandits, whatever they are at this point, are in the toy store, but just more annoying and trying to like actually fucking shit up rather than hiding. It's like that. So Charles is running around the store screaming, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you and Addie no matter what. As somebody who's very into affirmations right now, he's just doing his affirmations. He's gonna get you no matter what.
And he's gonna get Eddie.
No matter what.
Which he does.
And that is so true. And if you speak things into existence, they will happen.
Yep, fully agree there.
I'm here to tell you first. Or like everybody else on the planet or your TikTok algorithm.
There you go. Unfortunately, though, Mr. Lee Ray is shot and he's pretty mortally wounded in the moment. And he's trying to like get away because he's been shot, but he doesn't just stay put. And he's just trying to like get himself around. And we don't know what he's like trying to do exactly. But then all of a sudden, he comes upon a good guy's doll. This is where we get introduced to the good guy's doll, aka Chucky, the star of the film here. It is this red-haired, freckled doll with a striped sweater and overalls, and he is a very eccentric little guy.
If you haven't seen the movie, you at least know what Chucky looks like. Yes. I'm certain. Like he's got that iconic doll look.
And Charles takes this doll and he performs a voodoo ritual and he transfers his soul into the body of the doll.
I have so many questions here. I just want to know what brought this man to be in this current situation where he just happened to have a voodoo ritual in his back pocket because he's like, sure, I'm going to need this one day, but that's coming from a girl who does like protection jar spells.
Maybe he's just one of those guys who has really planned out his life.
Yeah.
He's ready for anything. He could be a doomsday prepper.
Yes.
And maybe voodoo is just part of that as like a last minute solution.
You never know when you might need a voodoo spell.
Exactly.
And he has one. So there that is, you know.
As he does this little spell, lightning strikes, explosions erupt, and the toy store is destroyed. And the doll is left behind, now presumably inhabited by Ray, but we just cut the scene and we don't really get any closure in this like little toy store chaos.
We don't get a lot of closure at all. And I must say, there's an odd amount of pyrotechnics in this movie. And I'll point every instance out and you'll be like, wow, that was an odd amount too. But something that I'm also curious about is I don't think we get any origin story about Charles Lee Ray in this movie, do we? Why is he running? Who is he murdered? Why is it Lakeshore Strangler? Why does he know voodoo? Does he have a family?
All we really get is that he's a serial killer, which obviously deduces that he has killed more than, I think it's like more than two or three people,
yeah.
Right? But you're right. That's all we get. We have just really come very far in the beginning, but I appreciate a film that's action-packed from the get-go.
Oh, I love a jump-in.
What other toys do you think would just be fucking hilarious for him to inhabit?
That's so funny you asked that. I was going to ask you, what would you inhabit?
Okay, so I think an Etch-a-Sketch would be hilarious because it would basically just be like giving like little...
Shade. Throwing shade.
Throwing shade. It would also just be funny to see these like visual symbols that he's trying to communicate because it's not like it has a voice or anything.
Yeah, but you could write on it. You could be like, you dirty whore.
Exactly.
I love it.
What about Mr. Potato Head?
Pretty much anything in Toy Story seems legit. I would choose something to fuck with somebody. So maybe a Furby because those used to terrify me. Because kind of like in this movie, if you're a kid, you're like, is it actually talking to me?
I have had that exact
Furbies
moment.
were fucking scary. And so is this good guy doll.
Nevertheless, it would be hilarious to see this in a bunch of different types of toys. Okay, and I know we kind of touched on the voodoo aspect of everything, but do you find that to be corny or what did you think about it? Because I think at first we actually don't know that it's technically voodoo. We just know he does like some sort of spell.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I love
a spell.
I love a spell. I think it's pretty funny in this movie because it's so fucking random. Mm-hmm. And I just love a voodoo situation. So I'm here for it.
I felt exactly the same way. Honestly, take me out of the reality and put me in the unbelievable.
Make it make less sense. I want that.
That's what I want.
Yes.
Yep, fully agree. Then we cut to another scene where we meet single mother Karen Barclay. She's played by Catherine Hicks. And if you know Seventh Heaven, like I know Seventh Heaven.
Do you?
I used to watch it like a slight bit because my mom wanted me to watch it because it was like a nice wholesome show as a kid. And I just remember her being like the hardcore Christian mom.
Is that why you still like Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Because of Jessica Biel?
Yeah.
1000%.
Got it.
Yeah. And I did play basketball. I was horrible at it, but she inspired me.
I'm not sure the connection there, but I believe you. I never watched Seventh Heaven, but I can tell you that this mom is hot.
Oh.
Yes.
She's a hot mama.
She's a hot mama. And then we got our young son, Andy, played by Alex Vincent, and he plays a really good, kind of creepy little kid. Looking at his IMDb, this kid's life is child's play. And good for him, he's also getting all of the bags. I'm pretty sure we've seen him at conventions.
I was going to say the same thing. He is very, very known for going to cons and signing stuff and just leaning fully into the love of Chucky. And it like really kind of makes my heart very happy. So moving on, Andy is awake, or he's awake first in the household. I think his mom, it's like 6:30 in the morning and he's up before his mom, and there's like a happy birthday sign in their little apartment, and he starts to like chaotically make his mom breakfast in bed, as he says, where it's like burnt toast and overfilled cereal and all these funny things. But he's really, really excited because it's his birthday. He wants to wake up his mom, and he's like totally ready to open presents.
I mean, it's like Christmas, but it's just your day. Couldn't tell you, I'm a twin. So I had the same thought of, wow, do you think our parents, when we made them breakfast in bed, they were like, this is so cute? Or were they saying, God damn it, we have to clean this up now?
I don't think I ever made my parents any breakfast in bed unless one of the other parents was supervising and making sure I wasn't being a total idiot.
I'm pretty sure I used to make my parents breakfast in bed by myself, and it was in this kind of fashion.
I could see that for you.
Yeah, my bad.
Andy sees a commercial on TV while he's like making this breakfast in bed for his mom.
This is a terrifying commercial. It's representing the Good Guys show that has the Good Guys dolls.
And Andy's obsessed. He has like a full PJ outfit on that's like all Good Guys.
And it's kind of how like we were obsessed with Barney.
You knew I was on Barney, right?
Emma was on Barney, you guys.
I need to get the clip from my dad, and we need to add it in Patreon as a...
Literally roll the tape.
I was not a main character, but I was part of a campfire story scene.
You can see her blonde ass fucking hair.
It's so fucking blonde.
So blonde. We got to find that.
And Selena Gomez was not there.
Was she a Barney girl?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, baby.
Okay. So, like you said, Andy is obsessed with the Good Guys show. And this confused me at first. I was like, why is it called the Good Guys? Chucky is a character from Good Guys. You get the Good Guys doll and it like has a name assigned to it, or it's not always Chucky. It could be like, I'm Arnie. But eventually he gets Chucky. So it's the Good Guys show. Karen comes out and is like, yeah, let's open your fucking presents. There's this big box. It looks like it could be a doll box, and it's wrapped in fucking Good Guys wrapping paper. He opens it. It's clothes. What the fuck? If you were doing that, that is like torture to your child. Why would you do that? Why would you wrap a not Good Guys doll in Good Guys wrapping paper and a Good Guys size box?
He's pissed.
It'd be like me getting Taco Bell's delivery bag, but it's full of dog shit.
No, I fully agree. It is what I would call a bait and switch.
Yes, it is a rude bait and switch. And what I will say is when he does open it, his mom is like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't able to afford it for you at this time, but I still want to get it for you, blah, blah, blah. Allegedly, these Good Guys dolls cost like $100. Granted, this is in 1988. This is 40 years ago.
I'm Googling right now.
But if you're going to tell me that PJs and bed sheets are also not fucking expensive, you're lying.
That was about $273 in today's.
Do you want to know how much a Disneyland ticket costs today?
That much.
Yeah. You could have a doll for forever, a Disneyland ticket for one day. That's a great birthday either way.
You could have a serial killer for forever, or you can go on the Toy Story ride a bajillion times. The choice is yours.
And it really depends on the kind of kid you raised, you know?
Yeah.
It really does. We can't do that for you. But bringing it back around to Christmas, is this movie just jingle all the way?
I was thinking about that. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially with all the craze.
With all
right?
the craze of
the toy
Turbo
craze.
Man.
Oh my God.
This is just Turbo Man, but with the Chucky doll.
And minus Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Just get Robert Zemeckis in here. We can make it some Polar Express themed movie too.
Too far. You've taken it too far.
Got it. Let's get back to whatever this movie's called.
Later at work, Karen, she works at like a department store, I believe. And a friend of hers who also works at the store with her she knows that Karen's son loves everything Good Guys. So she's like, hey, I saw that there's a guy selling a Good Guys toy, our doll. I know that your son like really wants one. You know, if you go try to catch him or whatever, you can probably like get it. And it's at a major discount.
Can we agree that this friend Maggie is the titular role of kind of sketchy best friend, but you trust her with everything in your fibers?
Yes. And I mean, she means well, right? She did not know this was going to be a possessed doll by a serial killer.
She's also, but hold up. Okay. Yes, true. Great. Maggie's a good friend. Maggie is also telling her friend to go pay for a discounted doll from a homeless man. She is telling her, yeah, it's discounted and it is from a homeless man, but you're going to get this doll for your kid.
One thing I will say, and I don't know if you've seen Broad City, But Maggie, to me, reminds me of Alana, very chaotic, making very rash decisions. And Karen is the level-headed Abby, who's kind of like, but Abby always goes along with what Alana's doing. So I'm making that connection here.
I love that. What I was going to say is, yes, Maggie is that kind of chaotic friend, but I kind of assign myself to that role as well. So,
a little bit,
yeah. So I do love a Maggie situation. You go, Maggie. You know what? When I tell you to buy a doll from a homeless person, just listen to me too.
Well, and guess what? Karen buys the doll.
She does.
She buys it for what, $30 or something?
Yes. Obviously heavily discounted from a dodgy drifter. And the only thing is, like, what if it's touched fentanyl? That's a real thing these days.
That is a real concern.
Not the serial killer part, the fentanyl.
The fentanyl.
That's the true killer here.
Yeah. Later, when Karen and Andy then get home, she has the doll wrapped up and she gives it to him. And Andy's obviously just fucking thrilled. And he's immediately bonding with the doll. He's so excited. And he says that the name of the doll is Chucky. And we don't see if that was the name that this doll was like given in the box, or like where did he get this name from? Because it's not really explicitly said within the advertising either.
No. And what Chucky says, basically Karen's like, oh my gosh, Andy, show me how this works. And Andy's like, yeah, bitch, I will. And he, I don't know, does something or tells Chucky to say hi. I can't remember how you activate it, but Chucky goes, hi, I'm Chucky, and we'll be friends till the end. Heidi ho.
Heidi ho.
What the fuck is the Heidi ho part? He's like,
I'm going to add that to our glossary in addition to talking about my shillelagh.
And cutie patooties.
We need to start a glossary.
Yeah. Okay, so now Andy has this doll that he so desperately wanted. And mom, Karen, actually has to go back to work because her boss that wants to fuck her is like, yo, I know it's your son's birthday, but you have to work. So Maggie actually comes over to watch Andy on his birthday.
And Andy's like playing with Chucky and, you know, giving Chucky a bunch of attention. But then all of a sudden, Chucky, his eyes kind of dart to like the TV, because the TV is talking about the Charles Lee Ray case and about how Charles Lee Ray, you know, apparently died in this toy store and what have you, all this stuff, right? It's so funny because Chucky apparently then tells Andy that to ask Maggie if they can stay up to watch the 9 p.m. news because Chucky wants to hear more about the Charles Lee Ray stuff.
Yeah, so we as the audience don't see that Chucky has like quote unquote revealed himself to Andy, but Chucky is basically talking to Andy like a person, like, hey, I want to watch the news. Tell your aunt I want to watch the news. We don't see that, but it's inferred. And obviously Andy is still a child, but he's like, yeah, this doll's talking to me.
And of course, it's obvious to us as the viewers, but this doll is Charles Lee Ray. Charles, Chucky, it's all, you know, that is him. And so he's curious about his own case. And he, like a lot of serial killers, they find a little bit of enjoyment seeing people write news stories about them and see just all that like attention. So no wonder he wants to fucking like look at himself, right? Maggie's like, no way, you are not staying up. And she makes Andy go to bed and brings Chucky with him too.
Maggie, as she's telling Andy to go to bed, and she actually picks up Chucky and she's kind of like throwing him around like you would a doll, really. That would piss me off too. He's probably like, this fucking bitch. That's my hair.
Well, and as Andy is brushing his teeth, Maggie hears the news turn on in the background and she sees that Chucky has moved, not by anyone's vision. He just magically is now sitting in the living room watching TV, and she thinks that Andy was messing with her. And this is the first indication, which is kind of sad, but Andy's going to get blamed for a lot of shit in this film that Chucky does.
It almost turns into A Boy Who Cried Wolf, but he was actually telling the truth. But I love that Chucky just plants himself in front of the TV. He's just like, yeah, I'm a doll. So what? I still got to watch my news and then watch Golden Girls and go to bed.
And later that night, Chucky sneaks out of the bedroom and he messes with Maggie yet again. He's like making some noises and causing some messes around, but it's not like super clear from our viewer point of view that it is Chucky. We don't see him actually doing these little things. We actually see it kind of from Maggie's point of view, where she's just being freaked out by all these little things that she's hearing and seeing. Then suddenly she turns around and Chucky, well, we don't see him actually, but we see a hammer, a toy hammer, just fucking go through her eye. She stumbles backwards, and then all of a sudden she falls back through the window of this like walk-up apartment building, essentially to her death.
All I gotta say is a couple things, actually. Why do babysitters always have like the worst deaths?
It's like, really sad.
It's always like a clumsy, dumb death, and I'm like, they're watching our children. Give him some respect.
I think they're just kind of an easy target for these killers.
I mean, absolutely. Look at John Carpenter wanting to have Halloween the babysitter murders.
There you go.
But also, something I noticed that just stuck with me throughout the entire movie, too, is the outside of this apartment building looks just like the apartment in Ghostbusters, too.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection.
And I love how they actually show the body landing on the car. Like, duh, we know that's a dummy. But damn, 1988 had the balls to show a body landing on a car. And for what it's worth, the effects in this movie are pretty fucking good.
I will scream it from the fucking rooftops. I love practical effects.
Yes.
Keep them coming,
Let's
people.
put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But this death scene is so Leprechaun branded with how silly it is. And I want to know, Chucky and Leprechaun, do you think they'd be friends or enemies?
I actually fully think that they'd be friends. And I think that they have both the perfect amount of like skis about them and kind of like just wanting to like rip people off and wanting to harm, but in a comedic way maybe sometimes. I could totally see that being
Maybe
friends.
they're like the Gecko brothers from Dusk Till Dawn. Just both little shitheads kind of being funny and running amok.
I would love to see a world where their universes crossed over.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, someone go ahead and run with that one.
Yeah, we've given you a free idea. Go make it.
Yeah. So Karen finally comes home, and she comes home to a scene in front of her apartment building. She doesn't know right away that it's Maggie or that it has anything to do with her apartment. And she goes up to her place to find Andy safe. He's safe and sound, but there's no Maggie, and her apartment is like crawling with police.
And they're just like sitting on the couch, kind of like looking up at her like, what? They didn't bother to call her at Bloomingdale's or wherever the fuck she's spritzing perfume and say, hey, your babysitter died.
I also find it really funny that a little later, she's going to ask them to get out of the house, and they just so immediately get out.
They're like, yeah, okay, we don't have to keep using this as a crime scene.
It's just so random.
Yeah, okay, your son can still sleep here. We'll leave your space so you can contaminate it.
This is a part where we're finally going to be reintroduced to Detective Norris from the very beginning, who shot Charles Lee Ray in the toy store. We see that he's like the main investigator on this case, and he pulls Karen aside to tell her of Maggie's death.
And in case you need a reminder, he's hot, so you'll know. And he basically says, yeah, your best friend just died. Are you okay? And she says, yes. Bitch, your best friend just died. You're not okay.
Okay. Can I say one thing, too, that I forgot to mention earlier about Chris Sarandon, the actor? This is just like we're going to call this a great guy moment, because he's being a great guy right here.
Not a good guy, a great guy.
A great guy. So originally the studio billed Chris Sarandon as the top star over Catherine Hicks, but Sarandon requested that Hicks be the top billed since he felt that she carried the film. Fucking love that.
I love that. She did do a great job here as an actress, but you know who else did a great job throughout this whole movie as an actor? The child who played Andy.
Something I want to ask you about too, Els, is after this next part, so Detective Norris shows Karen some small footprints that are in a bunch of flour that spilled on the floor. He says, don't worry, like we didn't see that these matched any of your son's shoes in his closet. But then they look at like what Andy's wearing, and he's wearing these good guy PJs with apparently good guys PJ sneakers. And it seems that the prints perfectly match. And I think that this is where the movie is trying to have us like question Andy's innocence in all of this. And obviously the adults in this film are also kind of like, okay, this is sort of weird. He was the only other quote unquote person home with Maggie. Like, do you feel like they do a good job of making us question his innocence?
No, because that's so funny. I literally never thought that was in question. I always thought it was Chucky. I never thought like, oh, they think that Andy might have killed the babysitter.
Yeah, I agree. I always think that it was very much inferred. What's interesting, though, is that Mancini's original script was written kind of more as a whodunit to toy with the audience closer to the end, making it really ambiguous whether it was Andy or Chucky. But obviously, this finished version, it's very clear that it's Chucky the doll.
I think it would have been way more interesting if it would have been a whodunit.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been as funny. I think it would have been more interesting. They should have gone back and like edited out the parts that was part of. You know what I mean?
Just
like
to make it a little more vague.
Or like make it less vague. Either go one way or the other, because having that questionability is making it vague. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even put that together that they thought that Andy might have killed the babysitter. But what I must say, what I did notice is the Good Guys marketing team putting in overtime because merchandising be popping off. Having your branding on the bottom of the shoes, good for them.
And Chucky and Andy are indeed wearing the same shoes, by the way.
Them. Yeah.
They're in little matching outfits. And the cool part is that a lot of this merch and stuff is available to this day for people to buy right now outside of the movie world.
We just wore some for one of the conventions we just went to.
Exactly.
And something that's so funny, and what I caught on to is, and the cop apparently doesn't catch on to, is Andy is literally wearing exactly what Chucky's wearing, and he's carrying around Chucky. So it's like two identical twins, and the cop's like, you know what? Suspicious. One of you is wearing sneakers. Like, come on, put your brain to use.
It's so funny.
However, I am in my 30s and I walk around town in a Buc-ee's onesie, so who knows what's suspicious and what's not.
That's true. You can't really ever question. Yeah. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. You can't judge a 30-year-old or a 5-year-old based on what they're wearing.
There you go. Later, though, when Andy goes to bed, he sees flour on Chucky's sneakers. And this, I think, is like the very first time that Andy's like, holy shit, I think Chucky did this. And like a good little kid, he runs immediately to the detective to tell him that Chucky was the one on the kitchen counter and the one that like walked through the flour. And Andy insists Chucky did it, but no one seems to believe him.
And this is one of the first instances I think that we'll see that Andy's actually smarter than your average 5 or 6-year-old might be. I have nieces and nephews, and they're smart and they're developing and whatnot. But to put together all of these things, and you're kind of in a traumatic situation that you're navigating for the first time, for him to be able to do this and be like, I need to go tell the cops, pretty smart.
So smart. But unfortunately, the detective leaves and tells his colleague that they should test the toy hammer in the lab as a possible murder weapon.
When he says it, he's kind of like, oh yeah, gotta test this thing. And they're like, okay, sure.
And they're all kind of treating it a little bit as a joke. Obviously, a very serious thing happened, but all of the things don't make sense that are adding up to it. They seem very kind of nonchalant about it, in my opinion.
But as Detective Norris is leaving, he's like lingering at the door, and I thought there was going to be a boning invitation for sure. But all he says is, I hate loose ends. Okay, whatever that means.
Karen then begins to worry about Andy's mental state. You can tell that she's like just kind of questioning this whole situation. She's just lost her best friend. All of this stuff has happened so fast. And she finds Andy kind of talking to Chucky alone. And she comes into his bedroom. She asks him what Chucky has been saying. And he kind of starts spouting out like a variety of different things that he's learned from Chucky. Like, for instance, his real name is Charles Lee Ray, and that he's been sent down from heaven by Daddy to play with him.
That is some fucking psychological warfare.
Very fucked up. But then this next part is hilarious. And little Andy goes, he says that Aunt Maggie was a real bitch and got what she deserved.
I low-key love that. I think that Chucky is like Stockholm syndroming Andy.
Oh my gosh. It is so funny.
Then, so obviously he's spouting all of this crazy shit to Karen, his mom. And she says, okay, sweetheart, why don't you take some, Xanax and go to sleep?
Not really, but
Not
also
really, but like maybe you should try that next time. She leaves and Andy says to Chucky, you're right, Chucky, she didn't believe you. And the doll actually looks out towards Andy's bedroom door and can see that Karen's standing outside of it, seeing if maybe Chucky and Andy are talking. So what Chucky does is responds in his good guy voice and says, hi, I'd like to be hugged. And rather than his Chucky voice. Yep. And so he's playing games on Karen. And I'm like, oh, two can play this game? That's great. This made me realize I probably talk to my dolls too. Did you ever creepily talk to your dolls?
Yes. And we may have mentioned this before in one of our other doll horror films that we've covered, but I also was obsessed with like Indian in the Cupboard and obviously with Toy Story. So my dad got me a cupboard. I was so gung-ho about it. Like, I've told you my stories of like me as a child. If I thought it was going to happen.
She was in Blue Crush.
I was in Blue Crush.
She would go check her surf even though she lived 45 minutes inland.
But yes, that is how committed I was to the bit. And I had this little cupboard and I would constantly open and close it with my little figurine in there. And I was like waiting to catch him be alive. And same with Toy Story. Like I would always peek around the corner and see if my toys were like alive. But I will say I was very, very obsessed with this life-size Barbie doll I had because we shared clothes. She had like dress-up clothes that she could wear, but I also fit into them.
Did you ever get like jealous of her?
No, but I remember I did have to lock her in the closet at night because she scared me with the shadows of my nightlight.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, guys, I have a hot take, and I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but fuck nightlights. I think that they're scarier than just sleeping in the dark.
You do?
Yes. These shadows, are you fucking joking me? The amount of stuff I had in my room that casted a very scary shadow, a rocking horse, different toys, chairs, things hanging.
Shadows are terrifying, but what's more terrifying? What you see in the shadows or the thought of turning on the light and then you see absolute terror?
I just want to sleep with my mom.
Okay. We're all just sleeping with our moms.
Honestly, that's all I want to do. I just want to sleep with my mom.
Dude, same.
Okay, I have one more question for you too before we move on to like our next section here. But it's obviously very frustrating for us as the viewer to watch Andy not be believed and to be ignored. However, we'd probably have the same reaction, right? Like, do you feel like you would believe Andy in this situation?
I mean, me being me, I think I'd be more curious. I'd be like, let's get some proof here.
Same. I think I would treat it a little bit more like, even in my brain, if I didn't fully believe him, I wouldn't let him know that.
Yeah.
I would be like, why don't you tell me how you know this?
Well, you're saying that in a kind way. Like, you're saying it in like a, okay, let's work through this together. I'd be like, show me.
Show me right now. I also think that it also points to the fact that at this point in the film, it feels a little bit more like psychological horror than it does slasher, in my opinion.
Absolutely, because the thought that I can't release from my body is knowing so inherently that you're right and having people not believe you. Even like he's a child and we know this tall tale, this fable, this life lesson of don't lie because this shit can happen to you. But the scary part is being a fucking adult and this actually happens to you. No one believes you. That's the scariest part.
There's a lot of mind fuckery.
Yeah.
Lots of mind fuckery.
And yes, I think that, yes, we are adults and can look at it like that. But I think that is the terror here is the psychology part of it, not the little doll, even though he will fuck you up.
Then the next day, Karen takes Andy to school and he brings Chucky along, of course. She's trying to make sure that Andy believes that Chucky is only a doll. She doesn't want him telling other people, making it a big thing, especially like I can't imagine you being a parent and you love your child so much and you take such great care of them, but like they could easily do or say something that could cause them to get like taken away from you, which is very scary.
No, it's absolutely insane. And kind of along those similar lines, I'm not sure why children in movies are always allowed to go back to school the day after a traumatic event. Like this just happened.
I have an answer to that.
Oh.
Sometimes when the kid is young enough, it's actually best to keep them on a routine. So even if something very traumatic has happened, you still sort of keep them in that routine until they can get like some kind of professional help and you just sort of worked that into their schedule, but you don't like stop their whole life just because something like happened, because that can sometimes be worse.
That makes total sense. But as a very sensitive person, I'm pretty sure I would not be able to handle that.
For us, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm staying home from work.
Yeah. But maybe children, but you're right. And these still very much so developing brains, it's normalcy is probably the best. What do we know?
Yeah.
We don't have kids. I also love that he's allowed to take his giant ass doll to school. I'm pretty sure that's not allowed. But why would Karen allow that even? She just spent like essentially a paycheck on her.
He's cash money.
Yeah. Chucky be cash.
You got to take care of that guy.
And Andy just be slinging that Birkin around like it's nobody's business.
When Karen inevitably leaves Andy at school, Andy then sneaks out with Chucky and they get on the freaking Chicago train.
They just like are taking the L to the south side of Chicago by themselves.
And Chucky leads Andy to this old abandoned house that we find out is Eddie's. If you guys remember at the very beginning of the film, Charles Lee Ray kept shouting in the toy store he was going to get Eddie back.
His affirmations, if you remember.
Yes, exactly.
So his affirmations is that he would get Eddie, and Eddie is his partner in crime, quote unquote, Eddie Caputo. And I just got to say, what a name. Is he related to Teresa Caputo?
Is that the mob wife?
That is the Long Island medium.
Oh, shit.
Have some respect.
Oh, my God. Fuck, I'm so sorry.
I love that show.
Andy asks Chucky to stay put while he tinkles, LOL, when they get to this house. And Chucky, of course, goes straight to the house without him, but we don't see it, really.
This is the funniest thing. Andy literally says, can you hold on? Why would he expect this fucking doll to wait? Also, he doesn't, like you said, but we get this POV shot of Chucky like running to this abandoned house. It almost looks like how the Deadite moves through the space and time. It's how he's moving to this abandoned house.
Very quick. He's fast on his feet.
Yeah. He's a fast little bitch. After we see that first person view of Chucky heading to this abandoned house, we see inside of this abandoned house, and it's not so abandoned. Obviously, it looks like somebody's been dwelling there. It's got cans, mattresses, clothes, whatever. And we see Eddie, and he's sleeping on the floor. And, okay, hear me out. Eddie's hot?
I did not clock that, and I couldn't even tell you what he looks like right now because I don't remember.
Okay, well, Eddie's hot.
You think everyone's hot, though. You're like the perfect person because you think everybody is attractive.
All I heard was you're the perfect person. So yeah, we see Eddie now, and as he's sleeping, Chucky turns on the gas inside the house, and we hear some noises, and Eddie shoots into the kitchen, and the whole house explodes. Like I said, there's a lot of pyrotechnics in this film, but it's probably just the meth labs,
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that that's a meth house.
And it's like a barely missed situation because Andy saw that Chucky was missing and started walking towards the house right before it exploded.
It's one of those.
Yeah. And he gets out just in time. And then that's it. It's just we don't really get any resolution.
You know what's kind of funny is there's a lot of, and that's it in this movie.
Yep. And then we immediately just see Karen, and she's bursting through the doors of the police station where she finds that Detective Norris has Andy and Chucky. Andy is being questioned by Detective Norris's colleague, Jack, about Maggie's murder.
It's so funny.
They're going back to that.
Well, it's funny. If you notice how this cop is talking to Andy, he's just basically like, so you know how your aunt died, right? Just so nonchalant. And poor Andy's just like, what?
And also, I believe it's kind of illegal to question a minor, if I'm being completely honest. So where is his attorney and his parent? That is inadmissible in court, right? Is that what you say?
Sure, but I'm pretty sure there were no laws in 1988.
No laws at all.
At all.
Karen then tells Andy that no one believes him about Chucky and that he needs to just start telling the truth. She's getting kind of frustrated. And she's like, Andy, you need to start telling the truth because they're going to take you away from me if you keep saying that Chucky has been responsible for these different situations.
He's literally begging Chucky in front of his mom to say, Chucky, do it. Please do it. I'm gonna
say something.
I'm gonna get in fucking trouble. And Chucky says something. He says something automated that the manufacturer has programmed.
One of his programmed phrases.
Yeah, and why is Chucky negging Andy? This is just like modern dating.
Please.
Hey, we're both taken, thank God.
And poor little Andy, he's like, Mommy, he's doing it on purpose. And that just breaks my heart just seeing his first real defeat. Because he's a child. He's innocent. He doesn't realize that he sounds fucking crazy saying a doll is doing all of this.
You know how you just want to sleep in bed with your mom? So does he. And he,
my God.
I know.
I'm going to cry.
Me too.
Oh, God.
I know. All he wants is his mom.
Well, and guess what fucking happens, you guys? He gets fucking taken by a doctor or something there.
Oh, my God. Can we talk about how creepy this was?
Oh, my God. They're like, we're going to take him for a few days.
They're like, we recommend him staying overnight. And Karen's just like, yeah, sure.
Hello. So poor Karen has to return home without Andy. And Karen has Chucky, by the way. Thank God, Karen, she's like, you know what? I'm going to threaten this little bitch to say something. But all that comes out is, hi, I like to be hugged. And she's clearly conflicted because she wants to believe her son. She's raised this, wonderful little young man. But she also it's hard to believe that a fucking doll could be doing all of this, right?
Right. Again, she's in her brain I'm not crazy. My son is insane, right? So like you said, she's like, fucking say something, toy. And then she's convinced herself, like, I'm right. Haha, this dumb fucking toy. She goes to look at the box, but wait, it says batteries included and out fall the branded, might I add, batteries. So 2 large batteries that are supposed to go in Chucky are now on the floor. Not in him, obviously. But something funny about this particular movie is the original title was actually Batteries Not Included, but they changed it because of an upcoming Spielberg movie that was set to release around the same time. But wait, I'm confused. Batteries were included with the toy, but whatever.
What was the upcoming movie?
I don't even know, actually.
Oh.
Diary of a Battery or something. It said it, and I just chose not to keep that information.
Speaking of batteries, I do appreciate, though, that this was back in a time where toys actually came with batteries, because now you got to get your fucking own.
That is so true. Especially those look like what? Those are like the big ones. Those are like AAA. What is the big one?
D.
They're D batteries. Those puppies cost like $15 a pop.
Toy companies too cheap these days.
Add another 10% to whatever you're buying for battery costs.
And fucking put them in for us, okay?
God damn it.
Jesus. Anyways, Karen then confronts the doll again. So you remember she just, tried to threaten it, got a, hi, I like to be hugged or whatever. And now she's like, bruh, I'm demanding fucking answers from you. What the fuck is going on? And she threatens to throw him in the fire, which I actually absolutely love. Chucky then suddenly comes to life violently, revealing his true nature. And he's just like ready to fucking rumble.
This was so funny to me. He's basically like, you fucking bitch. And he bites her.
Yeah, he like fully attacks her. And your guy just escapes the apartment.
And again, the scene just kind of ends.
It's the first time, though, that an adult has now seen and can confirm that Andy was actually telling the truth.
Karen must feel real dumb right now.
Totally. And can we just talk about real quick how impressive the doll animatronic reveal was? Especially, can you imagine that back in 1988?
My mind was actually blown. I'm not kidding. I was like, this looks like legit for today.
Yeah, it is.
And this was 40 years ago.
I could not agree with you more. Oh, I just love it so much. It is so cool when so many people can come together in a film and bring like this quality of like effects to life. And it just helps the story, in my opinion, so much more.
It truly was so impressive, not only in this state when he's like still a doll, but it's down the line where he kind of, his fabric and his texture changes a bit. It's also so impressive. Just great job.
It's so cool. And it really does hold up, like you were saying, even to this day. And
I had to be like, wait, what year was this?
Yeah, same.
So I know the special effects team was led by Kevin Yeager, and he's pretty prolific in the horror space as well, like Tales from the Crypt, Sleepy Hollow, Face Off.
Oh, okay. Love that.
So he's pretty well known in the special effects world.
I have another question for you too. Do you feel like this moment was more satisfying after all of the doubt that we kind of had and all that doubt that Andy was facing?
I get more of the word is not satisfaction for me. It's more of like a haha, bitch.
Yeah. You're basically Chucky.
I'm basically Chucky, yeah. This is the kind of villain I get behind.
Did you feel like he was scarier when he was like pretending to be a doll or when he's now fully unleashed?
The fun thing about Chucky is I find him 0% scary ever. Did you ever? Maybe because we didn't see him as like children or like, well, you did. So maybe you didn't find him scary as a child.
I personally, even to this day, can say I think that Chucky is a little bit more scary when he's pretending to be a doll because you just don't know what's really happening under that facade versus being his chaotic, fully unleashed self. Yeah, I think it's a little subjective, obviously, per person. But my true thing is I was always freaked out of dolls feeling like they're watching me or like, just kind of feeling like there's a presence in the room with you. I mean, that's a lot of my own doing in my own mind, but I think him pretending definitely scares me a little bit more.
So I think that as somebody who might share some kind of DNA with Chucky, I'm not scared. I'm just not.
Karen then rushes to the police station and she tells Detective Norris her theory about Chucky being alive. But of course, like he does not believe her at first.
This was hilarious to me. She runs into the police station. She obviously looks perturbed. She says to Detective Norris, lying? Does it look like I'm lying? Bitch, yes it does. And she shows him her arm, and it just looks like she like penned on a bite mark.
Yeah.
Bitch, yes it does look like you're lying.
And she tells him, she's like, you know what? I'm going to go see that peddler that I bought Chucky from. And he warns her like not to go at this time of night. But, you know, this whole situation kind of prompts him to follow her to make sure that she's safe. We don't see it right away, but it's kind of like inferred.
Was it just me, or was this whole sequence of her going through sketchy neighborhoods or land or whatever so long?
It's way too long.
Like, we get it.
But right as Karen finally connects with the peddler that she had originally bought Chucky from, it's kind of creepy because he thinks she's alone. He's like, hey, what are you doing here at this time of night? And he is just about to assault her and do something really fucked up when Norris thankfully shows up to save her and then starts questioning like the peddler himself.
There are a lot of like, wait, what moments about kind of assaulty things in this movie.
Yeah.
Not over yet either.
Yeah. Not the best. And they find out from the peddler that he got the doll from the burned out toy store, hence making the connection that that's where Charles Lee Ray passed away. And
I just want to know why this homeless man was like, yeah, I'm going to take one of these dolls.
Well, we don't know how many he had.
That's true. Maybe he was having a little side business of hustling.
I'm sure he took as many as he could probably have on his person.
Just kind of like people steal copper, people steal and strip wire and like that, and he steals dolls.
I think for him, it was just opportunistic. He probably went by and was like, oh, there's this store has been burned. There's no one here.
Yeah, like
all
copper
these
wire.
Toys. Is copper wire an opportunistic
1,000,000%.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
For like buildings that are abandoned or torn down, people will go and strip wire, and it's money.
Well, everyone watch your abandoned buildings.
It's probably me stripping your wire.
After they talk to the peddler, Norris then tells Karen that Charles Lee Ray died in that toy store that burned down, and that he knows this because he was the man that actually shot him. And Karen now is like certain that Chucky must be a reincarnated version of Charles Lee Ray. And she asks Norris, like, where did he live? And because she wants to like get down to the nitty gritty here and find out a little bit more about the serial killer. And Norris, like, he relents and gives her the address, but drops her off at home at first.
She's basically saying, don't you want to help me? Like, we're so close, so we know what's happening. Don't you want to help me? And she brings this back up. She's like, you don't like loose ends, remember? And he's like, bitch, get out.
Norris then stops at the station after he had dropped Karen off at home, and he goes to grab Charlie, Chucky, whatever you want to call him, grab his case file. And then as he's driving home, Chucky pops up in the back seat of his car and tries to strangle him with jumper cables. But Norris luckily is able to grab the cigarette lighter that he was just getting ready to light his own cigarette. And he burns Chucky on the cheek, kind of temporarily like stopping the scuffle. But this whole part to me is just hilarious in the car.
So Leprechaun. Is it not?
It's also way too fucking long.
So many of these scenes are just really long and kind of awkwardly quiet, even though they like feel like they should be much louder. Also, I know I've said this before, but I will forever be scared of car cigarette lighters. Terrified.
Oh, really?
Because of like the curiosity of you can't touch that when you're little and then wanting to touch it.
I did one time.
So did I.
Yeah, and I burned myself really bad.
And so did I. And so like they forever scare me. And I know they don't put them in or like they do it differently now so you could charge your phone. But like, goddamn, why? That's so weird.
I know.
I'm still scared of that little thing where you can plug your phone into because I feel like it's a cigarette lighter.
I feel like I'm feeling the burning sensation right now. Let's move on.
So they knew how to make an impact with the scene.
Yes. And then there's some back and forth for a couple minutes. Chucky tries to stab Norris with a knife. There's some manic driving. Norris, I think, is trying to brake at one point, but Chucky gets like under the seat and presses the acceleration. It's very chaotic. And Chucky then manages to contribute to a flip over crash with this car. And Chucky escapes the car and Norris like shoots him, but he still like runs off in the process. And Norris kind of like loses track of him. So the next day, Karen visits Charles' address and finds his strange ass apartment with a lot of paintings on the wall, and there's a lot of spiritual symbols. And one specific painting seems to be of this like voodoo looking shaman. And then there's some writing on the wall that says, "Oh, thank you, mighty Damballa, for life after death." And a fun fact here is that Damballa is a real Haitian voodoo spirit. So love that they made a connection to a real like deity. Is that what you call it?
I have a weird thought about that is like, I think it's kind of
creepy, like it opens up the portal to us as viewers.
Yes, I think it is kind of creepy to actually use real names or real shit like this in films or books or anything that's not real.
Because fuck, and then I just said it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And you're the one that's always talking about the reading out loud shit.
I just walked into my own trap.
But I really do think it is like I respect the respect that they have in wanting to make it real, but I also think anything can open a door if you let it, and just including real shit in movies. Oh, who knows?
Okay, well, insert door closing sound.
There we go. Closing that door.
Norris then sneaks up on Karen in the apartment, and he is able to tell her about some of his discoveries. So back in the case file that he had gotten from the precinct, he shows Karen that Charles was close to a guy named John Bishop, who is, we're going to find out in just a second, the voodoo shaman. Basically, Norris is like, all we need to do is just find this man before Chucky does. But unfortunately, and lo and behold, Chucky goes to visit John and tells him that everything that he had taught him has paid off, but that he has some concerns because he was shot and it actually kind of hurt him.
So this whole scene was kind of funny to me.
It was hilarious.
First of all, Shaman John does not look like a Shaman John, not really. He's just kind of a normal guy. He might be wearing puka shells, but like other than that, he looks kind of like your average John or average Joe. But don't you think this shaman seems like kind of a nice, normal guy? Like he doesn't want to fuck shit up. Don't you think he should have known that if he was hanging out with Charles Lee Ray or whatever his name is, that he would have noticed that this guy was potentially a serial killer and maybe not to give him access to these high spells and deities?
He's got to be more careful. I mean, John even says to him, he's like, I'm kind of pissed that you're using everything I taught you for evil. He tries to stop him, but then Chucky like pulls out a voodoo doll of John.
Back to what I'm saying is Chucky says to John, you shouldn't tell people where you keep this.
Yep.
Why would John tell him where he keeps his own? Why would you have an own voodoo doll of yourself?
Too trusting.
I wonder if people have voodoo dolls of themselves to like improve. Like I want longer hair. Do you think if I had a voodoo doll and put longer hair on it?
By the laws of voodoo, like I know.
Let me look up in my book.
It seems like that would work, but also it's also possible that it's meant to just be something like a negative thing, not a positive.
I'll look it up and get back to you.
Let me know because I'm trying to grow out my hair. So
I'll bring it back to the class. But like you said, Chucky's being like, yo, this voodoo is great, but I'm starting to bleed. That wasn't part of the deal. And John's saying, the more time you spend in this body, the more time the more you become human. So you will bleed. And Chucky's like, what the fuck is that bullshit?
Yeah. And Chucky then breaks one of John's legs by breaking it on the voodoo doll. John is like in excruciating pain, and Chucky's like, how the fuck do I fix this situation where like it's not gonna harm me in this body anymore? And John explains to him that he must transfer his soul into the first person that he had revealed his true self to, which is unfortunately Andy.
And it's funny, Chucky's like, I'm gonna be a 6-year-old? Hell yeah. And then he fucking kills John. And if I were Chucky, I would keep John hostage and use him when I need him. Don't fucking kill this. He's a resource.
Just classic serial killers, just
not
making dumb mistakes.
He's not thinking things through.
Yeah. No.
This could have been a huge resource for him.
Exactly.
But poor John is dead.
Poor John.
For now, perhaps he can bring himself back.
Well, he's not dead just yet.
Oh, this is right. This is true.
The biggest part of this scene, though, like the takeaway here is just that the stakes are now super clear that Andy is the target, which is so sad. And in going back to the fact that Chucky can now bleed, in Dan Mancini's original concept, the good guy doll itself was filled with fake blood that would allow it to bleed if played roughly, which is fucked up.
That is weird.
And the doll would have started coming alive after Andy mixed his own blood with the doll's. Also extra fucked up, but kind of want to see that version?
Absolutely.
I also have a question for you. Do you feel like Chucky becoming human, the longer he's like in this doll, do you feel like it provides a clever twist at all? Because like there were many versions of the Chucky doll that had to be made as the doll like adopted more human features as the movie goes on. I don't know if it really added too much to the plot, in my opinion.
It doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, same. I get that they had to do it in order to say like, oh yeah, like this is how you kill him or whatever. But you could have also just been like, this is how you kill a voodoo spirit.
I think it was actually them trying to figure out the formula or like, okay, how can we differentiate this, because you know how we're seeing that in instances. I know I just brought this up, but how in Nightmare on Elm Street, how you come out of a dream, but you still have your cuts or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're seeing creators create new worlds in which these monsters can be hurt. So they're just playing with situations like, okay, let's see what sticks, you know?
And I know this is a movie, so people are going to make up their own rules, but there's always different fucking rules for every like supernatural
and I think
movie out there.
That's what my point is, I think, is that these creators of these universes are like, okay, we get to make these rules. What are the rules? And in this one, they're like, let's see what happens like if he bleeds.
Let's see what sticks. Yeah.
And then some shit, as we learn, doesn't stick. How many franchises have we looked at and been like, so what is the lore?
Too many. Yeah. Too many to count. So later, after Chucky has left John is laying there dying, and Karen and Norris arrive a little too late. They find John. He's barely alive, but he does manage to tell them before he fully passes away that they must save the boy. They must stop Chucky before he can say the chant. And they also need to stab him in the heart because the heart is almost human. And that's going to be the only way to effectively kill Charles Lee Ray.
This is the classic case of a character being in a movie just to progress the movie. All he did was help Chucky by saying, it's the boy. You have to put your soul in the boy. And now all he's doing is helping Karen and Norris saying, you have to stab him in the heart. And then he dies.
As the great All-American Rejects once said, move along.
Like I know you do.
Like I know you do.
Classic.
Then later, we are now at the psychiatric hospital where Andy is being held. Oh, it's so sad. He looks out of a window and he sees Chucky outside the building coming up the back stairs. And he calls out for the doctor really frantically. He's like, Chucky's here. Chucky's going to try to come get me. And it's actually hilarious seeing this little person pretending to be Chucky going in the back stairwells of this building.
So it's kind of funny. It's funny and it's not funny. So for these kinds of shots, they use a combination of puppets, child actors, and little people.
Love it.
We're not sure what we're getting here, but it is pretty funny to watch.
It's the best. But the doctor, unfortunately, and obviously, does not believe Andy. And it's so sad. My heart is literally crying for him in this moment.
This whole scene is very sad and predatory.
And his little crying, he's just a kid.
And this is where I was saying child acting. Child abuse, question mark?
Because he's so good.
It's like this kid is either really good at taking direction or he's really tired and they're just telling him to say lines and I'm like, oh my God.
No, Alex Vincent, fucking bravo.
Yeah, bravo.
You did 10 out of 10 here. Really, really effective on the heartstrings.
We'll tackle the abuse potentially a different day.
Would love to hear his thoughts.
Yes, I'm just kidding. This is a great film. I'm sure it's a wonderful experience.
Chucky then infiltrates the hospital and he's able to steal a key from one of the security guards, very mysteriously, and he makes it into Andy's room.
There's a little shot of him. Speaking of shadows, there's this great shot of Chucky waddling down the hallway, but it's just this shadow holding a knife and he's preparing to go kill Andy. It's so cute.
But Andy kind of tricks him out. Andy had set up his pillow under the blankets to make it seem like he was just laying in bed so that Chucky would try to go get him.
Again, I'm not giving Andy enough credit. Smarter than I thought he would be.
Smart fucking kid, right? He's able to narrowly escape by tricking Chucky that he was just in bed, and he opens the door and he just runs the fuck out of there. He's like, let me get the fuck out of here as fast as I can. Chucky then finds Andy in another room that he was trying to hide in, and Chucky jumps on him. Andy grabs a scalpel for protection, but then the doctor comes in and finds only Andy. And as he's trying to take Andy out of the room, Chucky then attacks the doctor by stabbing him in the leg with the scalpel and then puts a fucking shock therapy helmet on him. And y'all know what happens after that.
We get a crispy doctor.
Yeah.
What's even crazier to me in this scene is that it almost seems like Chucky's protecting Andy because the doctor's actually coming in to do shock therapy on Andy because they're like, this kid's insane. He's saying dolls are talking to him, and we're going to do shock therapy to see if it helps. So Chucky's low-key saving Andy's life.
That would have taken a much darker turn and not have made this so much like a horror, arguably comedy that it is today.
We're getting a lot of movies in one.
Yeah.
All I want to know is, Chucky, we know your heart grew 3 sizes that day, just like the Grinch.
Which is why we're going to be able to stab it to kill you.
Which is why we're getting Robert Zemeckis back in here to make this a Christmas
Jesus
film.
Christ. Karen and Norris then finally show up to the hospital, and Norris's colleague, Jack, He's also there, and he explains the situation because cops have arrived with like the doctor's killing and all this stuff. And of course, Andy is at the fucking center of it. And they basically think that Andy like committed yet another murder. Norris is like, whoa, dude, this is not what happened. I will tell you. And as he's talking to his colleague, Karen is off on the side talking to a little girl who confirms that she saw Chucky. And so they all kind of come together. Karen's like, hey, Chucky was here. And Karen and Norris go where they think Andy would have escaped to, which is home.
Which is obviously, I mean, probably the natural place because it's the most familiar. But do you think at 5 or 6 years old, you could navigate from a strange hospital location back home?
I think the way that you and I grew up, no. However, living in a place like Chicago or in a very heavy like metropolitan city, I think you could. I remember talking to my dad who's from Chicago, and he said like from a very young age, they knew exactly how to get to and from school. They could get to like a corner market. They could get to their favorite like playgrounds.
I wonder if that's, do you think, this is a completely different topic for a different podcast. Do you think that's safer for a child to commute to school like in a metropolitan city where we know they can be seen or like whatever, safer than, you know, like a suburb area? They both have their evils, but like...
That's a good question, and honestly, I don't have an answer to it.
I want to ask some parents, like, what do you think? Anyways, we're not going to ask Karen or Detective Norris because they're fake. So let's move on with this movie.
I just, real quick before we move on to, I just feel like Andy, poor guy, he's just so helpless in this situation. And how does a child defend themselves from being labeled as a murderer? Like that is just that is truly like the worst fucking possible thing.
And you're probably
go ahead.
You're probably so confused. You're like, I don't understand what any of these words mean.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of reminds me of how sad it was that the kid in Oculus got blamed for shooting his dad.
Yeah.
You know, even though, yes, he technically kind of did it, but there was a deeper reason of why it had to happen.
100%. Also, there are some real life pending cold cases that children are in question. So it really, there are real life situations like this, not with the doll, of course. Obviously, talking dolls are real, but not like Chucky.
So now we're getting into the final confrontation here, which happens back at Karen and Andy's apartment. Chucky, he's heading up the elevator, and I fucking love this part.
Yes.
He heads up the elevator, and there's an old couple who comment on how a child must have left their doll there because Chucky's, you know, he's pretending to just be a regular doll. And the woman says, oh, he's an ugly doll. When they leave the elevator, Chucky says, fuck you.
I love that. And it made me realize, is Chucky just Ted? The bear doll?
Probably. They're probably like distant cousins somewhere in the universe.
I wonder if Seth MacFarlane really liked Chucky growing up. He's like, let's put a different spin on this.
He's like, let's make this really funny.
Yeah.
I think it's just like hilarious. I kind of wish he would have said it like to her face.
Chucky and Ted would be friends. Chucky, Ted, and Leprechaun. What a gang.
Yeah. Then in the apartment, Andy tries to hide. He's trying to like figure out the best place that he can kind of like seek shelter. And what a smart kid. Grabs a weapon. He does get his baseball bat for protection.
He actually barricades himself in a closet. He's such a smart little guy.
Smart little guy. Then Chucky comes down the chimney like fucking Santa Claus.
Just really bring Christmas back full circle.
And this part, okay, I think this might be the funniest part in the entire movie because whoever is playing him, whether it's a little person or a child, whoever is like being the physical body of Chucky in this scene, they just hilariously fucking drop kick the fireplace screen and just are like the Kool-Aid man. Like,
I don't think we've noted enough that the physical comedy in this movie is outstanding.
it's so fucking
It's
funny.
so funny.
I love it so much. Then the boys find each other, and there's a little bit of a chase that ensues between Chucky and Andy. And
It's something I'll note here is we get a lot of this actor's annoying Chucky voice here, and it's more funny in this instance. But as soon as Chucky finds Andy, he goes, "Ah, surprise!" And it's the most anticlimactic, like lackluster surprise ever. And Chucky seems more annoyed that he has to go through this charade and like deal with this kid to get what he wants. It's just hilarious.
well, then he says, "Batters up," and he freaking smacks Andy in the head with the baseball bat. And you know what that just reminds me of?
Leprechaun?
No, do you remember Totally Kyle? Wait, was it Totally Kyle?
Totally Kyle.
Wait, or which segment on the Amanda show was it where she's like,
Totally-
I'm going to hit you on the head with a baseball bat?
It was Totally Kyle.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Wait.
Well, but it's always different objects. Like she goes, I'm going to hit you on the head with a lobster. Or like, I'm going to hit you on the head with blah, blah, blah. I don't know why in my mind.
Hillbilly moment.
Hillbilly moment. I don't know why. I just want to be like, I'm going to hit you on the head with a baseball bat.
Wait, that's so sad.
I know.
R.I.P.
It actually is very sad. And I don't love that a child has been hurt in this.
Which one?
Film.
Amanda Bynes or
no, Drake Bell.
Drake Bell? Oh,
no,
God.
in this Andy.
Fuck.
But Karen and Norris, they finally then make it into the apartment for this like final showdown. And they find Chucky, and he's already starting to try to do the transfer ritual on Andy.
Chucky has like rendered Andy unconscious, and he's starting to rattle off his Santeria bullshit. And again, he's trying to summon Gozer apparently because this apartment building is straight out of Ghostbusters.
I love that.
Seriously, watch it again and look at this. Maybe they live in the same universe.
Yeah, potentially. But Karen and Norris, they interrupt just in time before completion of this like little ritual. And
completion.
Chucky then bites Karen in the neck. He's bitten her several times today. And he slices Norris in the leg with a knife. And Chucky then runs off. Norris gives Karen one of his guns and tells her to stay put with Andy while he tries to go find Chucky, who ran off to another part of the apartment. Chucky then beats him a couple times with a baseball bat, and Karen comes in and is able to shoot Chucky in the leg before Chucky tries to attack her again.
She's doing the classic shoot everything but the place you're supposed to shoot.
Yeah. However, Karen then manages to trap him into the fireplace, and Andy grabs a match for her. They light it, and Chucky begs, like, no, we're friends until the end, remember? I love this part.
Oh, yeah.
Friggin' Andy, he goes, this is the end, friend. And it's so fucking funny.
He really ballsed up in this scene. And I know you love a little line like that. So I was like, oh yeah. Emma.
He deserved it. He needed
did.
like a redemption line.
He needed a little cheeky moment.
Yeah. Andy then tosses the match into the fireplace and lights Chucky completely on fire.
All I gotta say too is I feel like Karen's been trying to get this doll to burn in one way or another for this whole film. So she's finally getting to see that.
Redemption is
redemption.
Here. This is seemingly killing him, but this is the first of, I think, 3 times that I'm going to say he is seemingly dead.
God damn it, Karen. Where did we say to shoot? Did we say put him in a fireplace?
A fun fact here, though, in this scene specifically, is that little person actor Ed Gale was hired to play as Chucky for the fire scene. And since he was around 30% taller than the doll, the filmmakers, they created a living room stage that was about 30% bigger and actually set him on fire, which I fucking loved the realisticness of this scene.
You can definitely tell it's like real fire
and then it's a person.
And then it's a person.
Yeah.
And it makes you a little uncomfortable just knowing that. But okay.
I'm like, oh, they got this.
I don't know. I've watched enough like fails of stunts and stuff that I always get like, oh God.
Oh, that is spooky.
I don't recommend watching that.
Yeah. Andy and Karen then go reunite with Norris, thinking like everything's fine. And then when Andy goes out of the room to grab the first aid kit so that Karen can attend to Norris's wounds, Andy finds Chucky still alive and he's all fucking charred up and he's like trying to come attack them again.
So this is where I wanted to note too how the effects again look so great here. So he is burnt, he is charred, but he's also melting. Ugh. And the way it grosses me out, just like actual gore would gross me out. Like you can see, have you ever seen Hostel?
Yeah.
You know when the eye is coming out of the girl's face?
Yes.
And there's like goo and it's like coming out?
It kind of reminds me of that.
It reminded me of that. I was like, it grosses me out just like Hostel did. And I think if you can achieve that, props. Get it? If you can achieve that, props.
Props.
Get it? Because they're props.
I was telling the producer, I sort of would like a replica charred Chucky.
Even just the head.
I think it'd be so fucking cool. Oh, yeah, just that. We should try to find the head somewhere.
Also, we could totally make that. Just burn a doll.
Ooh,
that's a fun little crafty.
Let's do that in your backyard.
Okay.
Next weekend?
Little crafty project.
Cool.
I'll see you there.
Karen then shoots off several of Chucky's limbs, including his head. But he is, of course, still alive, you guys.
Of course.
And we think that she shoots him in the heart. And we think that he might be seemingly dead. Again, I've said it now again. That might be like 2 or 3. He is kind of down and out for the moment. And then Norris's colleague, Jack, shows up just as this like fight is ending. And he asks them all what happened before backup arrives. He's like, can you guys like take me through what the fuck happened? Because all he is seeing is Norris is injured. Karen and Andy are like slightly injured, but there's a charred doll. Like it's not really telling anything of what actually happened.
He kind of laughs. He goes into the hallway and he finds the charred head and he's like, you guys are fucking worried about this? And he puts it on top of the TV. He's like, you are dumb fucks.
What did Norris tell him to do? Not
to touch it.
Not to touch anything. But yeah, Jack brings it back into the freaking bedroom. And as he's like messing with it, Chucky's body then attacks him through a vent in the wall. And
I got to pay my respects here because I fully was expecting the head to do something, but you get the body.
You get a little surprise.
A little jump scare.
Norris then finally shoots Chucky again in the heart, and we think it's over this time, you guys. And he says to Jack, you believe me now? Like, bro, look. Then the extra authorities show up. Karen and Jack help Norris out of the bedroom. And as Andy stays behind, he's just kind of like looking at Chucky's like mutilated body. And there's no clear resolution emotionally. It's really kind of just pure survival at this point.
The final scene is Andy leaving the room and he's like closing the door but looking back through the small sliver of door left open. That's it. And I was like, what? I like went through the end. I was like, is there extra credits in this? Like, am I missing something? Nope.
And you can tell that Andy doesn't feel fully satisfied that Chucky's actually dead.
You can feel by Andy's face that he's going to live a life of terror and not knowing whether this toy is going to kill him at any moment. You can tell.
I think I know your answer here, but like, did this ending feel complete or did it feel open-ended on purpose?
Do you know what's interesting is I love an ending that I got to come up with a term for it, a ghost ship ending with a twist.
Yeah. And a little like, oh, things may carry on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I also love an ending that's just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And the fact that I haven't seen anything else in this franchise leaves my brain saying, and the character never knows either. And I know there's more in the universe, but in my brain, it stops here.
Yeah, if you like just isolate it, kind of thinking from that perspective.
So I like that. To me, this is a standalone movie. Nobody ever gets any resolve, and I will leave it here for now. Leave that there for now. And I like it. Do you?
I do like it. There are a few things that I have trouble with it. One of them, and I don't know if you agree, but why is he so fucking hard to kill compared to other slashers?
That's true, but is he though? Like, I feel like they're all hard to kill. Leprechaun's hard. I think because they all have supernatural elements, right?
Would you consider Leprechaun a slasher?
Would you not?
I don't know.
What is he to you?
A mythical creature.
To me, he is a lover, a friend.
Just a good time boy. I'll tell you what, though, and I said this to the producer the last time we watched this. Okay, I am a big kicker. I've told myself if I was in a situation that I was like being attacked or something, I would use my feet and my kicks like as much as fucking possible. Cause I think that's probably the strongest part of my body, if I'm being honest. And I don't know why anybody hasn't just fucking kicked the shit out of this fucking doll.
I mean, that's a good question. But then, you know what?
Like when he's coming at you, you are almost 3 times his size. Just kick him away.
Okay, hear me out. Today, I was playing with my cat. My cat is very small. We know this. But when she is on my shoulder and she's got her fucking claws digging into me, I cannot throw her off of me. Perhaps Chucky has similar powers.
And obviously, it's a movie. I get it. But like, I don't know.
Let me ask you.
Okay.
Did you like this movie?
Yeah. I think it is campy enough.
Yes.
Where maybe back in 1988, it wasn't considered so campy, but now I have a renewed sort of love for it. I think watching it now as an adult, that I find it to be very entertaining. I also love that it's only like an hour and 25 minutes because we get to the point pretty quickly. It's action-packed from the get-go, and there is so much Chucky lore and continuation with this franchise that it also makes you kind of excited in general, just because there's like so much to consume.
There is so much, and if you like this taste, there's more for you to enjoy after you've seen this movie.
Let me ask you, did you like it since you didn't remember ever seeing it?
I liked it. Am I excited to explore the rest of the franchise? Not really.
Kind of like if it happens, it happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but like you said, if people do enjoy this, there is more for them to experience with this franchise. I liked it kind of in the sense that it's funny, it's campy, just like you're saying. To me, it's so on board with how Leprechaun makes me feel that it's just a good time. I listened to other podcasters talk about this movie. From what I'm hearing, people prefer number 3, Child's Play 3, and Bride of Chucky the most in this franchise. Not everybody, but as far as a majority, those seem to be the most popular. So now I am curious to go and watch those.
Bride of Chucky is my favorite, and Tiffany is a whole other level that I think you will love when we get to that point.
I have seen Bride of Chucky.
Oh.
I just had not seen anything else in the franchise.
Oh, did you love it?
I fucking love Tiffany.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about that one later, but
as this movie, as a standalone, I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was so like surface level for me to just throw on and enjoy and not think about it. I think it's a good time.
I also agree. I think it's a good time. I love the storyline of like, you know, using the obsession with toys that kids have, especially when there's like a very specific popular one out on the market. And Charles Lee Ray being a serial killer in a toy, like no one had done that before, you know, at least not in such a big mainstream way like this. I really, really liked it a lot. And Chucky has just gone on to become this like iconic character. And
I like when movies can make us talk about our memories too.
Yes.
When it sparks memories for, like, it's made me think about, obviously we've been talking about our childhood toys a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I love it when I can relate it back to my personal experiences. Obviously everybody else does too.
Fully agree.
But I also love how I watched this on Tubi, but it rolled straight into Big after. I like didn't touch anything and just rolled straight into Big. And I was like, yeah, that's a natural progression.
That makes a lot of sense.
It truly does. I enjoyed Child's Play, and I think I will just dabble at my own leisure for the rest of the franchise.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that for you. Well, that was Child's Play. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. If you want some bonus content, then join our Spooky Chicks social club over on Patreon. Subscribe to us and please rate us 5 stars wherever it is that you listen. But the best way to support us is by sharing our show with another friend who loves horror. And Allie, with that, would you like to close us out today?
I'm your friend till the end.
Oh my goodness.
Sometimes it's okay to believe when kids say the darndest things. Don't fuck with voodoo or dolls, and stay spooky fuckers.